Hello, we're here with the HyperFast Podcast, and I am so excited to have David Carr on the show from Conversion Monster. So you guys are all things conversion, right?
All things conversion.
Okay.
As it relates to real estate agents.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you guys do and how you can support a business.
So, we're an add-on to a business. We won't run your business. We're not going to make your business for you. But the idea is that if you're running a good business and you know how to run a business, we could be complementary to it and give you the level of support you need to really manage your lead flow.
And you guys focus on the ISA side of things, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
you're an inside sales agency
Right.
that supports a team that's already doing follow-up for their leads.
Right. So we don't do any lead generation. You guys are doing your own business. You're closing your own deals. We are inside sales agents. We will respond to your leads. You will never miss a lead with us. You send them to us.
Did you guys hear that? You will never miss a lead with them. That's huge.
Right.
That's quite a claim.
Right, and we work all business hours. And to most people, when you hire an ISA, if you're a real estate agent or broker and you hire an ISA, it's a 9 to 5 employee or 10 to 6, and those are the hours they work.
Right.
You have our business hours from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m., sometimes 11 p.m., depending on what your needs are, that we respond to your leads 7 days a week.
Yep. And if you guys have an ISA that you're like, oh, well, that's not true for me because my ISA works 7 days a week, 24/7. They're going to burn out and they're going to quit. So just be ready. You're going to have to call them anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what we did is we analyzed what aspect of the business could you optimize. And we know that this portion of the business is not a high-paying part of the business. So if a real estate brokerage wants to bring in an ISA, typically if you spend the time to train and you bring somebody in that you trust and you really like, they graduate and they leave and they become a broker. You have to share in commissions, right? So we found out that we can optimize the call center aspect of the business and manage that component to it, so you don't have to deal with human resources. You don't have to constantly train and rehire and bring anybody else in if they decide to leave because they're successful, right? So this is one aspect, one segment of the chain of events that happens that we can optimize for you.
So it happens to be a component of the business that without it, you fail, right? Like there's no business that is incredibly successful where you don't follow up with your leads.
No, and that's the biggest failure that we see. And if you don't follow up the leads, it takes so much to get the lead in. That if you're, it's very expensive.
It's expensive, right?
And the major lead generators, they're actually increasing the number of leads. They're charging more for them, but they're
Zillow.
They're not delivering. I'm not going to say names because
I'm going to say names.
There's enough business to go around, but they are not generating more transactions. Nobody looks at this statistic. There are anywhere between 4.8 to 5.5 million transactions in real estate, buy and sell side. Their leads are doubling, tripling, quadrupling every year in the multi-millions, hundreds of millions of leads. There are no more transactions. It's the same lead getting split 10 ways.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Do you know the percentage of times the lead is actually followed up with?
I would have to say with Conversion Monster, 100% of the time.
Well, that's a great answer. In the industry, though, it's only 10% of the leads that ever get followed up with or something insane like that. Because people think they're going to do it, and then they think, oh no, I waited too long, so I can't do it now.
Yeah.
Like the excuses we tell ourselves, that's really
and that's
hurting
human.
your
It's human
business.
nature. Like my business partner, co-founder Ro Malik, his qualification is if they're moving within 3 months, he wants to talk to them. If not, we follow up with them. If you didn't have the follow-up process, they go to the wayside.
Yeah.
And the way the privacy laws are going and lead generation, you want to get the data in and you want to keep those leads happy. Lead happiness is a thing now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not just lead close, when are we going to bring the lead in, when are we going to close the deal? It's how can I keep this data in so I can keep contacting the person so they don't unsubscribe. Right? So like in 3 years when they are ready to buy, you've spent the money, you have them in.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about your strategy when you have someone on the phone. How does your team address the call?
Yeah, first out, we're very customized service. We're bespoke to the broker, if you will.
Okay.
We basically call as the agency. You provide the scripts.
As an extension of the team.
It's an extension of the team. The lead comes in and we immediately call, email, text, all the things that technology allows us to do very quickly within 5 minutes. And we call as you, and if it's a qualified lead as per your specifications, we connect you right away. And you should have somebody on the other side, and this gets into the supplement of the service, or the ISA service. You may have your own ISAs, and they may be busy doing other things. We will call them. So we'll be this overlay on top of that. 12 hours a day, we will connect you with that qualified lead. If they're not qualified or they're not ready or you're not available, even if you don't answer the phone, we will then put them into our queue and work them for 6-12 months, depending on when they're ready, and give them a nurturing campaign.
And in terms of the scripts, you take the direction from the broker, but you probably know what works because you do it all the time.
Yeah, so when we first started out, we had 50 different scripts for 50 different clients. And our employees were going nuts. Like, how can I say this guy's the best, this guy's that? It was crazy. But we learned that you look at the data and you look at what's worked and you look at the successful brokers and agents, and you know what? We've taken the best practices and we've applied those to the other agents, and they've found value in that.
So suddenly they start converting when their own scripts might not have been working so well.
Right, exactly. So we provided those to them. So let's say you came in and we were using your script specifically. We would then provide those to some of the people who are in different parts of the country that aren't as successful, and now they're doing better.
Okay, can I ask you a really tough question? What do you see as the most common mistake that agents have made in their scripting that they think will work and then prevents them from succeeding?
To address that specifically, like the scripts are I don't think the scripts themselves, it's a very granular thing. So the scripts themselves, we get in this myopic view of this one lead is going to make our business, or you didn't do this. We deal with a lot of people that if you make one mistake, they think everything's failing. It's a numbers game. Right?
Yeah,
so the reality is you just can't screw up and you can't upset people. So if you kind of keep them alive, we have agents that the biggest issue that we see is they don't put the time in. And sometimes they don't end up being clients. I'm just going to tell you right now, like with Conversion Monster, we've lost a lot of clients because in 15 days they say, why didn't you convert more leads? Like the pipeline, if you look at some of the speakers today, the pipeline is 6, 9, 12 months. You have the lead, you nurture, and then you build over time. 15 days? I mean, that's not going to work. And if you're running your business practice to have a 15-day business cycle, you're going to fail.
Right. It's a long-term game with internet leads.
Yeah.
There are some short-term opportunities, but ultimately a lot of people are long-term. So are you trying to close and book the appointment for the agent, or are you queuing a conversation?
Okay, so the most important aspect of our success is when we have teams and agents that want to be partners with us. If you want to delegate fully to us, you're basically giving the keys to the kingdom to a third-party ISA service. Now, we love that. We want it. We want the business. But at the end of the day, we want you to be successful.
Yeah.
So if you want to be successful, would you just drop off the keys to the kingdom and say, hey, run it for me and let me know when someone's ready?
Right.
You have to be involved. So we want you to pick up the phone. We want you to take the qualified lead. We want you to answer it and build that relationship, because the sooner you do, even if they're not qualified, even if we jump the gun, they talk to you. They're staying in your funnel a lot longer.
Okay. So what you're saying is you're a nurture touch service that keeps the leads happy, keeps the leads top of mind with the agency that you're working for, and you're tagging them so they don't have to call the 100 other leads. They might call the 5 leads that are the best.
Right.
And you're really bubbling those leads to the top.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're relying on the agent to close.
We're relying on the agent to close, because at the end of the day, what we do is we're the net, right? There's the fish, we're the net. We bring them in the boat, but if it's a struggle, you got to reel it in, right? And you got to keep it on ice, and you know what I mean?
You got to do your part.
It's a good analogy, and I think it's important that we form partnerships with agents, and we're not just a vendor, if you will.
Yep. So Are there a few examples of people who have been highly successful or type of leads that have been very successful with other clients of yours?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success, and not to get into names, but the industry, it lends itself to everybody has a unique business. Real estate agents, you're all running your own independent businesses. So to say that this person has success or you had success and you're going to have success because of it, we wouldn't be able to go there. We've had people that we've had 85% contact rates with, which is better than I have with my mother, you know, and they've canceled on us because we didn't say one thing right on the phone. You guys are very particular. You treat your businesses like your own little babies, and we respect that. And it's almost like going to Starbucks, where it's the only company in the world that has scaled the bespoke coffee drink. 2 pumps of mocha, 1 latte, whatever it is. And we try to do that. It's difficult, but we try to make everybody happy.
It is hard, and we're divas.
You are successful divas. It's not all show here.
No, but it's true. I get that. I will say for myself, with my path, I value ISAs very much. For anyone who doesn't know this, my first 3 hires were ISAs because I recognized that if I was going to scale, I had to solve the follow-up piece.
Right.
And I think most agents, it's not their strength. It's not what they do well.
Right.
So I actually am curious, what personality traits do you look for when you're hiring team members?
That's a very good point, because we've gone through this cycle, not by knowledge, but through experience. We failed and succeeded afterwards. We used to hire real estate agents that were in training, and we quickly realized that if they were any good, they were out the door.
Yep.
You're not going to sit in a cubicle and answer phone and talk to people all day. That's just not your nature. You're very charismatic. You want to go out and meet people. You love seeing the real estate. There's a different component to it, where if you're an office employee that's diligent, taking notes and talking to people, completely different personalities.
Yep.
So we believe in order to be ultimately successful, whether it's by hiring us or somebody in your own office, you have to hire an ISA that doesn't want to be a real estate agent. They may want the money. Everybody wants the money, right? But they are not going to be the person that's going to go out showing houses.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've gotten away from that completely. We still train our people to be licensed, because we have a model where, if we can give them the education through an third party, an independent third party, they can speak to the clients as if they're an agent without selling.
Yeah.
It adds a lot of value to our customers, right?
Yeah. All of my ISAs are licensed.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the conversation naturally goes places that can get a little risky for an unlicensed.
And I think it's a good analogy. If you look at a lot of businesses, if you look in finance, they have sales assistants, the guys that are managing the money, portfolio managers manage the money, lawyers, which I'm very in tune with that community. Paralegals do a lot of the legwork, but the lawyers do the lawyering.
Yeah.
Right? And real estate agents are no different.
Yeah.
They have to focus on what they're good at. You focus on your strengths and you outsource what can be optimized. And what we said earlier is the optimization happens in the call center with managing the lead flow.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's a really smart point, because most agents out there, if you're really honest with yourself, the follow-up and the long-term nurture is where you fall down. You're leaving a lot of money on the table because you're really good with the hot person. If you go to an open house and there's a right now buyer and you hit it off and you have a relationship, you're going to close them. And we believe you with that. But the person who you don't connect with in the same way, that's a year out, that you didn't talk to as long because you were talking to the right now buyer, that's the one that's going to slip through the cracks if you don't figure out how to plug the ship. Yeah,
and I agree. I have a story to tell. So my first year in real estate, 2001, I was in New York City and I was renting apartments, and the rentals in New York City is like selling houses anywhere else. There's very low vacancy. Huge. It's a huge business. And a gentleman who was a client and is now one of my best friends, been almost 20 years, he blew me off. He wasn't ready, blew me off, and I was just tenacious about following up, nurturing, and finally my last drip to him in the days of drip, which is not even text messaging, was, hey man, don't feel bad about not returning my call. I have another place I want to show you. Call me if you're ready. And he closed the deal. I closed the deal with him, and I'm great friends with him. But the point is that was the old school nurture.
Yeah.
Like please open my email again.
Yeah.
And it works. That was one of my first experiences.
That's awesome. And I feel like so many agents get personally offended.
Yeah.
Right? And then they start leaving messages and they have an attitude, right? They're not in the right mindset to get someone to be attracted to talking to them.
Yeah, and that makes a difference, I think, between a super ultra successful agent and someone who's just in the business as a job, right?
Yeah.
If you can dismiss it, and I don't want to say there's something different about those people, but if you can just shut that part of your brain off that gets offended, it's the sales piece. We deal with it in our business. If you can do it, you're going to be successful.
Well, and have empathy for where the people actually are. If they're going through a divorce, if they had a death in their family, if they have a tumultuous situation in their finances that's causing them to move,
right.
They're not excited about taking your call. They're not excited about working with you. They're not excited about where they are. So recognize that and be empathetic to that, and that'll earn you a lot of points and could get you the deal.
Yeah, and I think always being there, and that's like, it's almost like shelf space. You think that Pepsi doesn't need to advertise because there's Coca-Cola and there's Pepsi and there's two colas, right? But they advertise just so someone else doesn't get their market share.
Yeah.
And if you're always there for the people and you're always doing a good job and you're consistent, consistency sells. We deliver consistency at Conversion Monster. I feel like the lead follow-up and nurturing gives consistency to your business. It can help out.
It's awesome. Well, if someone wants to get in touch with you, we'll put your information below, but
Great.
I really appreciate your time today. In closing, one more thought, one thing you've learned that could be helpful to people watching today.
Consistency. And I just mentioned a minute ago, so I don't want to be like duplicating what I said.
But it's the most important thing.
It's the most important thing. And with sales, every lead treated all the same. You never know the guy who's going to say, I only want to spend $200,000, and you dismiss it. He really ends up spending $350,000.
And his uncle ends up being a billionaire, right?
Uncle ends up being a billionaire. Get the contact in. Keep the contact and never judge anybody. Just keep going, and you're going to get deals off of it.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much for your time today. Bye, you guys. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you liked it. Give it a quick like below and comment and share. We'd love your feedback. For more videos like this, click here. And to subscribe, click here.